All right, good evening, everyone. You are welcome to the Sustainable Youth Led Agronomy Knowledge Transfer class for today. And today we are going to discuss factors affecting crop production. So last week we talked about introduction to crop production. We talked about several things that we need to consider with respect to crop production. That is what our facilitator told us about. Now the thing with our classes is it's not like everything we are hearing here is new. But this class is more of like to sharpening our knowledge, to like remind us of this, and this is what we ought to do for us to have maximum productivity. So I will not waste our time this evening because our facilitator, she has another engagement, so she will be starting right away. So I welcome Miss Faith to handle to take over the class right now because I don't want her to be late for where she's going to. So Miss Faith, you can take over.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Gaga. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Good evening, everyone. I hope we had a nice weekend. All right. So today we'll quickly. In fact, I feel like we've done actually a lot of what we are going to do today. So today is just like maybe a summary of all that we did last week, right? So our major focus today will be factors affecting crop production. So we need to understand what influences our plant growth and yield. All right, next slide, please. So crop production involves more than just planting seeds. Crop growth and yield depends on many interacting factors, and why they are called interacting factors is because one aids the other. Okay, if you have good irrigation system set in place, okay, and something like your climate, maybe the plant is not getting enough warmth that it needs to get for it to germinate, there might be a problem even though it is getting enough water. Okay, and that's where this smart farm technology comes in, like screen houses, greenhouses, just to create a microclimate that will favor the plant growth. Okay, and you can be having a good irrigation and your plants are not rich in organic matter, that can affect. So even though you feel like, oh, I'm watering my plants regularly and I'm not still getting the results, are other factors intact? So that's why we call them interacting factors. They all work together, like the Bible says all things work together for good. So a lot of things have to work together to get the results that you are aiming for. Sometimes it's even little factors as how will I say it? Something that is not as obvious as soil pH. Something that is not as obvious as um what's it called? Soil pH. Okay, and EC. Is that okay? So, it's something like as minute as that that can be affecting your plant growth. So, understanding these factors will help improve productivity, reduce losses, ensure sustainability. Yeah. So once you understand each of these factors, they will help you to know what to do. So yes, we talked about the meaning of crop production last week, but just like a summary or recap for maybe some people that were not around, it's like involves all the activities, okay, intentional activities towards growing a particular crop, either for profit, either for your own personal use, okay, but you intentionally planted them, intentionally produced them. That's why it's called crop production. Okay, so it's influenced by natural and human conditions actually. Next slide. So some of the major factors, okay, affecting crop production, we have the environmental factors, we have the biological factors, we have the human factors, the economic factors, social and knowledge factor. Okay, for environmental factors, like I said, this will have to do more like with the climate. I talked about this last week, okay? I talked about this last week, and I think I was talking about pepper production, that at a particular season is more favorable growing it in that season than maybe something like ewedu now, and the jute leaves and amaranthus is more favourable in the rainy season, okay. And for pepper, as much as the water is good, too much of it is not too good for pepper, okay. They don't need so much rainfall. Okay, so we have environmental factors, we have biological factors, and more of this is has to do with more in the soil. Okay, when we are talking about biological factors, more of it is in the soil, more of it is in the soil. Then we have the human factors, the management. You know, you can have a good soil, good irrigation system, good weather, everything intact, but the management of the farm is poor. You don't prune when you are supposed to prune, you don't water when you are supposed to water, you don't, you know, I've seen pretty good, like, crops that are doing very well, and just because of management issues, you know, it's so painful, the whole plant goes to waste. So that's part of it. Then economic factors also is part of it. You know, when for example, there are things that you are supposed to apply or use at a particular time, and then you are trying to manage these things, or they are not readily available. That can also be a major factor. Also social and knowledge factors, like we were saying last week, integrating traditional methods into modern methods is vice versa, like is both for both sides, okay. There are some things they know we are not applying now, and it's creating a loophole, and there are some things that, you know, conventional farmers know and these people don't know, that is affecting their production. So the knowledge gap has to be filled. So for the environmental factors, we have examples like the climate, the soil, the water availability, okay. Next slide please. Then we have like other climate factors, for example. Now, so let's dive in just a little bit into um the climate factors. We have rainfall, you know, less will lead to droughts, too much will lead to flooding. Temperature, each temperature has the optimum range, okay, in which they will do well or perform well, that will help their flowering. Is that okay? Then sunlight required for photosynthesis. We have some very sun loving crops, and when they don't have enough sunlight, you know, it's won't produce well. Then humidity, people don't really talk so much about this, but it affects, okay, the level of water content in the air. It really affects it. Like I said last week, if the air is very dry, you probably need more irrigation frequently than when, you know, there is enough water content in the air, okay. So yes, next slide. So we have soil factors. Soil factors are, it, like I said, good soil, good production. If you don't have a good soil, you might be probably wasting your time, I'm telling you. So important soil properties that must be checked, you know, the soil texture, the type of the soil. That's the loamy soil, which is the best, although I don't know, probably we've done something like that here before. I'm not I don't know if we've done something here like that before, or if it will be done again in the future. But I know there was a particular time we're discussing something about the different kind of soil suitable for different crops, and you might feel like something like a soil that has a bit more higher content of clay cannot be useful. Is That's not exactly true. So there are some crops that might actually do well in some other content, but you know, for general outlook is loamy soil. Why? Because of it's poor, like it's has like a good moderate like water holding capacity. Is that okay? It has good drainage. Okay, everything is like balanced. So even in place of this loamy soil, that's why we have this thing like creating like this potting mix now. So you are the one that will ration the compost, you ration the maybe cocoa pit you want to use, then you ration maybe the soil you want to use or the manure or whatever. So you make your soil easy. Why do I love this loamy soil? And one of the characteristics I feel most times they are always talking about loamy soil is because it gives space for the roots to grow easily. You know, when your plants are growing and the roots does not have where to breathe and break through easily, it will cause stunted growth and a lot of problems for your plant. So when your roots have places like spaces to stretch themselves, they take up water easily, they breathe easily, even organisms can, walk through the soil easily, they don't have obstructions, your plants will grow very well. So that's one of the characteristics of loamy soil actually, just to buttress on that. Then we have the soil fertility, NPK. And apart from the NPK too, these micronutrients are really doing a lot. Something like iron, they have a lot to do, even with the fruits, even with the nutrients in the fruit, the coloring of the fruit and all. Iron is very very good. We have a lot of micronutrients that are also very necessary in the soil apart from NPK. Then we have the soil pH, we have the drainage and the structure of the soil. Next slide please. All right, so water availability. Water is essential for nutrient uptake, for plant growth and all. Yes, about this, I transplanted pawpaw seedlings recently. Okay, so I intentionally planted like I intentionally transplanted a pawpaw on a particular part of the soil and on another part of the soil. The other part of the soil, right? When I water it, like it quickly drains the water. You understand? And the other one, like it drains the water too. It's not like it's that bad, but it's not that fast. Like literally does not go in 5 seconds and all. And I was studying the two of them, and you can see that because sometimes you need to do some of these experiments like a demo when you are doing your farming and everything, so that you know what you are going into. So the ones that they are not getting drainage easily is already wilting, even though I'm giving it water little by little, while the other one that is draining easily and I don't even really water it that much as the other one is doing very well. So what was I talking about? Even apart from the water in the soil, the air, the oxygen flowing through the soil also helps these plants to grow very well. All right, next slide please. All right, biological factors. Living organisms affect crops. Yes. Seed quality, the pests, disease, and weeds. Like even this seed, that's why sometimes it's always advisable to grow your seeds, like grow seedlings using your seeds in the nursery, because sometimes if you put your plant your seeds in like areas that are not well protected and all, some of these organisms can just come and destroy the seeds. Okay, that one I experienced it for okra seeds. I was planting them and all. I just planted that one. I did not raise the seedlings. Okra now. I just I was there, this and that, and I noticed that although some of them were treated ones, and I noticed that the seed was damaged. Some of the seeds were damaged, and I did not plant it like that. So some of these organisms, they damage seeds and all. So that's why I do prefer that you actually have a nursery. It's very very good. Okay, and to protect your plants from early plant diseases and all. Okay, so that's that on that. Please, next slide. Next slide. So you have to have good seeds when you are planting your crops. Okay, poor seeds cause poor germination, uneven growth, while improved seeds give higher yields. Next slide please. So if you can get treated seeds is very very good. It will go a long way. than untreated seeds. Okay, then we have pests and diseases. Pests damage leaves, stems, fruits and all. Diseases weaken crops and reduce yield. So you can still go through this slide later. Okay, so we have different control measures for pests and diseases. We have crop rotation, planting resistant varieties like I've said in the last class, and good farm hygiene. Okay, good farm hygiene. Please, next slide. Okay, the weeds, we know how weeds are. So you really need to keep your farm good hygiene, good sanitary measures, okay, so that they don't breed pests. Alright. So please, next slide, please. And another advantage of weeding is that it helps your plants to grow. All the nutrients that is being diverted to the weeds, you get to keep that for your plants, for your crops. So we move to management and human factors. Farmer decisions directly affect yield, okay, such as land preparation, the planting time, the spacing and farm care. I would just like to talk about this planting time. It is very, very important. You know, one of the skills that you can get as a farmer is the skills of knowledge, the skills of research and development. If you are a farmer and you have been farming for 5 years and you have not been taking notes, you've not been studying the plants, you've not been putting things like writing things down, studying the patterns of your crop, then I will tell you that you will fail as a farmer. So you really need to study this. So I can tell you, if you are doing farming in the first year, or like you can use that as a demo, you understand, to know the patterns and what favors this, what favors that, so that for you to reduce risk, you just use the knowledge that you've known before, what you've discovered, and apply them to the next cycle that you want to go through. I'm telling you, this will make life easy for you. Document them, don't just put it on your head like, oh, you know it. Document these things. That's why farm record, keeping those things are good. So you know that, okay, the next farm season I'm planting by this time and I'm harvesting by this time, and this is what I'm doing, this is when I'm making my money, this is when I'm selling. Okay, all right, next slide please. Next slide, please. So we talk about proper tillage improves the root growth, correct planting time, avoid stress, proper spacing reduces competition and reduces disease incidence. Somebody one of my colleagues long time ago, you know, she just snapped her cucumber farm to me and sent it like, oh, what pesticides should I use for a cucumber farm? But it was like about I don't know, should I call that a plot or so. It was not really so large like that, and she was asking me, and I was telling her that even before you even tell me anything about pests, haba, this cucumber I'm seeing, it is overcrowded. Like the trellising was not well, everything was just jam packing on each other. That in fact I'm even fearing, I have a lot of fear more for fungal and bacterial diseases than even the pests, because these things are just going to start. In fact, it was already showing sign that it's already rotting and getting damaged. So proper spacing is very, very important for farm management practices. Next slide please. Even for your own convenience when working on the farm, you know, it's very good. So we have nutrient and farm care. Crops require nutrients for growth. Overuse of fertilizer harms the soil. We talked about this last week. Organic manure improves soil health. Regular monitoring prevents losses. Next slide please. For this, like this natural monitoring now, I've been doing like this little cucumber demo in my garden, okay, and I've not used any pesticide, I've not used anything. All I just used was neem oil, and I think I used salt for once. But what I do, I don't spray it when I do it like a maybe 1 in 2 days routine. Before I even see anything, I'm spraying the neem oil, and they are really doing fine. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Like regular monitoring is very, very necessary. So economic factors, we have access to seeds, fertilizers, tools, water. High input cost reduce production. Market and storage access affect outputs. So next slide please. Like what I talked about, the economic factors, we have access to all these things affect. Even this Nigeria, we have a lot of Nigerian economy is affecting farmers, sincerely speaking, but God will help us. So these are the things you need to put into place when planning your crop production, so that you know what you are prepared for and what you are getting. Services and training, like what Mr. Ogaga is doing, great work, very good. People get this for free. Next slide, please. For free, because these things are very very mandatory, very very compulsory. We need to take all these things into action. So the last slide says crop production is influenced by many factors: environmental, biological, human factors. They interact together. I want to buttress on that again. Please know that they interact together. So if you are sorting the one for economic, or you are sorting the one for environmental, and you are not sorting the one for human management, there is going to be a problem. All right, so proper management leads to higher yield, sustainability, and food security as a whole. All right, thank you very much. I'm sorry that I'm rushing a little bit. It's just that I have to be somewhere else now. I would have really loved to still buttress on some points. So you can still go through the slide. So that will be all for today. Thank you very much for this opportunity, Mr. Ogaga. And
Please,
thank you everyone for listening.
please let's give our facilitator some thumbs up. Thank you so much, Miss Faith. Thank you for using your time judiciously and for educating us. Really appreciate your work.
Thank you very much, sir.
So you can
All right,
leave the
sir.
call. You can leave the call, but I know you told me
All right,
8:30.
all right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you so much, sir.
I will talk to you later.
Yes, sir.
All right. Um, let me stop the recording.